Mm.
Kind of makes you wonder, you know?
A little bit, yeah. Was it like a passion project or something?
Right, like a message in a bottle. What's the deal?
And the thing is, that kind of bleeds into the story itself, you know? The whole premise of Sepia is all about hidden stuff, desires.
Okay.
So picture this. A vintage camera, but instead of the regular pics, it snaps photos of what people secretly want.
No way.
Yeah, and get this, even if those desires, they involve other people.
Talk about juicy. And we meet Bernie, the guy who finds this camera, and he's all about trust.
Yeah.
Right? Like his first line is about how he and his girlfriend Ellie, they've never cheated. Ever.
Whoa, the irony. Talk about foreshadowing.
For real. So
Yeah.
what's going on there?
I think it's that classic conflict we all deal with, right? What we say we're all about versus, the stuff we're actually drawn to. Bernie, he starts off skeptical of this camera, obviously.
Who wouldn't be?
Totally. But
Yeah.
you can tell he's hooked. It makes you think how much of us wanting truth is really about control, in our relationships especially.
Oh, 100%.
Mm.
And speaking of Ellie, the way the screenplay lays out her character, early on at least, she's great.
She seems it, yeah.
You totally believe this is a woman who is head over heels for Bernie.
Yeah.
Trusts him completely, which makes the whole camera thing, well,
All the more devastating.
exactly.
Because it's not just some random cheating thing, right? The way I see it, the screenplay slowly shows us these camera photos. They're not just catching someone, checking someone else out. It's deeper. It's like their deepest longings.
Okay, hold on. Got to clarify. Deepest longings meaning.
Like not just who you think is cute at the moment. This is core level stuff. What a person truly yearns for, even if it goes against everything they say they believe in. It's like the camera's tapping into the subconscious, the raw, unfiltered stuff we try so hard to keep hidden.
And here's where I started thinking about the title, Sepia, right?
Mm-hmm.
I kept picturing old photos, faded memories, all that.
Bingo. It's more than just a visual, it's totally a metaphor. Later on, the screenplay lets us know this camera, it uses a special sepia film. This film that reverses the colors like an inverse. So it's like what we think we're seeing, what we assume is true, could be the total opposite.
Whoa.
Just like those faded memories, right? They might not be as reliable as we tell ourselves they are.
Okay, so we've got trust issues, hidden desires, maybe our memories are messed up. No wonder Bernie's world goes haywire. Especially with Ellie caught in the middle of it.
And to make matters worse, he does not handle it well. Remember the scene at the bowling alley?
Yeah?
He tests the camera on his friend, sees something he doesn't like, and boom, instant assumptions. It just shows how fast suspicion can grab hold, even for someone who's always preaching about trust.
And that's when I started to have my doubts about Bernie. I mean, is he really after the truth? Or just something to back up his own insecurities?
Which is genius, right? Because it makes us, the audience, question what we're seeing too. Are we getting the real Bernie or a warped version?
Right, like is this the full picture or some sepia-toned version of it?
Mhm.
And then to make it even more complicated, we've got these other characters, Stacy and Dr. Rezo.
They're like total opposites, right? Stacy, she just accepts the camera, no problem. Almost like she represents how tempting those hidden desires can be.
I see what you mean.
And then you've got Dr. Rezo, Mr. Voice of Reason, trying to ground Bernie as his world spins out of control. But even he gets pulled in,
Yeah, he does.
Like the screenplay is saying, look, nobody's immune to wanting these secret truths, these peeks behind the curtain of who we are, who other people are.
And that's what makes this so good. It's not just, is this camera for real? But how does it make these characters react? Even us, the audience. Makes you think about some uncomfortable stuff.
Exactly. It's like our desires, our fears, the stuff we bury deep down.
And speaking of uncomfortable, that scene where Bernie confronts Ellie in their apartment, brutal.
Oh, man, I know, right?
He's got that photo, thinks it proves she's cheating, but you just feel how heavy his accusation is on her.
It's like he's crushing her with it.
Totally. And her line, how? You had me followed. How?
Oof. My heart broke for her. You can practically hear their trust shattering.
Yeah.
It's such a raw scene, you
Yeah.
know? Really shows how much damage suspicion can do, especially when it comes from this messed up camera lens.
And the worst part is, this camera, even if it is showing these deep desires, it's just a snapshot. No context, no nuance. Right, like it's missing a whole story.
Exactly. Like seeing one frame of a movie and thinking, the whole plot. Bernie's so focused on this so-called proof that he's missing the big picture entirely.
All those years with Ellie, gone.
Wasted.
It's like he's choosing to think the worst, even when there's barely any evidence. Which makes you think, maybe this is about how we all see things sometimes.
Oh, totally.
We notice what we want to notice, the stuff that backs up what we already believe, even if it means ignoring the truth right in front of us.
It's so true, and the screenplay gets that. It doesn't shy away from it at all. Bernie, after he walks out on Ellie, he tries to find proof, right, to make the camera story make sense, but he finds nothing.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the camera created this fake world full of suspicion and doubt, and he's stuck in it.
Alone. So, is the camera showing anything real? Or just reflecting back Bernie's own issues? Is sepia messing with more than memories? What about reality itself?
It's the question, right? And it sticks with you even when Bernie tries to fix things with Ellie. He goes back, wants to make it work, but the damage is done. She's heartbroken, calls him out on his need to be in control, his
Oh.
inability to just trust.
And that's where you see the real consequence of Bernie getting obsessed with this camera. He lost Ellie, not because of her, but because he couldn't just trust her, trust the love they had.
It's rough. And just when you think he's going to have to deal with what he's done, the screenplay throws in a curveball. Stacy.
It's like he was just starting to face the music and then bam, escape route. Right. New relationship, no baggage. Well, at least not out in the open yet.
But Stacy's not just some rebound, though. She's a catalyst, pushing Bernie further down the rabbit hole with this camera. She knows about the Sapia film, accepts it, and that just feeds Bernie's obsession even more.
Right. Like he's trying to run from what he did, the doubt he's feeling, by going all in on this world where everyone's desires are just out there and the truth, even if it's twisted, is one photo away.
Exactly. And then she drops that bomb about the sepia film not just capturing desires, but the deepest longings of the person being deceived. It's like Bernie's been looking at these pictures the wrong way this whole time, misinterpreting the very thing he's chasing.
Wow. So what you're saying is maybe it's not showing us what we want to see, but what we're most afraid of.
Well, think about it. What if those pictures of Ellie aren't about her desires at all? What if they're showing Bernie's deepest fear? That she'll find someone else. Someone who won't treat her the way he did.
So the camera's holding up a mirror to Bernie's own insecurities,
Yeah.
just throwing his self-sabotage right back at him.
Exactly. And that hits him hard. Makes him question everything that's happened. Makes him face the fact that he might be the one who ruined everything.
So what does he do? He goes running back to Dr. Rezo, holding on to that undeveloped photo of Ellie for dear life. He wants answers, wants someone to tell him he hasn't messed it all up.
But even then, desperate as he is, there's that little flicker of hope. Maybe, just maybe, Ellie's photo will be different. That the camera, for all its weird power, can't erase the love they had, the life they built together.
He needs that photo to be like a symbol of their connection, proof that some things are stronger than doubt.
He needs it to be. But our writer, Sergio, he's not letting us off that easy.
Nope, not at all.
Instead, we go deep into Bernie's head in these last few scenes. We see him begging Dr. Rezo to take his picture, wants to see what the camera sees. It's like he's trying to crack the code of this thing, get some control over the chaos it's unleashed.
And that ending. Bernie, staring at that photo of himself, the one we never get to see. Just that last line. Bernie rises his brows, his Adam's apple throbs. So what's it all mean? What did he see?
That's the million-dollar question, right? Sergio leaves us hanging. We have to figure it out for ourselves. Did Bernie see what he was most scared of? Or did the camera show him something even more messed up, something that changes how he sees himself, his own desires? We just don't know.
It's like that sepia effect lingers, even after the screenplay's over. It really makes you think about what's true, how we see things, and that blurry line between what we want and what might destroy us. If you could ask Sergio one question about sepia, what would it be? Let us know.